All right, Les Snead is here, one of the best general managers in football. What's going on, buddy?
You know what? Owners meeting. What do we call these? Annual meetings?
Annual meetings? No one calls it the annual meeting.
It was owners. That's how I grew up on it. I don't know why it's called. I guess it's owners meetings because the owners are here.
When the owners are somewhere, it's going to include the word owners. Like it's not our meeting. It's not your meeting. It's not the GM's meeting.
We're just a part of it.
Yeah, we're lucky to be here. We're at this beautiful resort. Like
could be working.
We're good. Right. I want to start here. You guys got very close to the Super Bowl last year, and you know what it takes to build a Super Bowl champion. You've done it before. Number one thing, the thing that when you wake up at 3 a.m. you're thinking about with the 2025 Rams is what?
I think the first thing that comes to your mind is however close we were, some people say 13 yards away, we would have still had to score a touchdown. We would have had to stop Philadelphia. So you never know how that game's go. So you're probably never one play away, unless it was a walk-off type play. Key is there's definitely things we learned in 24. 25 is so different. Yeah. It's an entirely different team. There's a lot of the same faces that are going to be a part of the 25 team, but the chemistry, the rhythm, the health, the collaboration, the symbioticism that you have at the end of a year is nowhere near that at the beginning. Yep. So I think that's always the thing to remind the building is, okay, it's not like, okay, next year we just do this, this, and this. We'll beat a team in the divisional round and go to the NFC Championship, win that game, and then win the Super Bowl.
I want to talk about the young guys you brought in last year. I'm a Miami guy, so I have to include Cam Kitchens as the third one here, but obviously 2 Florida State guys off the board early. Jordan Rodriguez had an interesting nugget when she was around you guys about how you guys knew you couldn't replace Aaron Donald necessarily. No, you can't.
Yes,
you can't. I was going to say necessarily. You can't. You just can't. You can't even try. But you knew, all right, instant chemistry from the Florida State guys. Maybe to Billy Bean it a little bit. Maybe you replace him in aggregate, right? Like, take me through the thought process on drafting 2 guys with chemistry from Tallahassee, and then you knew.
And I'll even add that. I think I've jokingly said we still haven't replaced Aaron Donald, even with the success we had. Now, doesn't mean that we didn't want to be a disruptive front. Yeah. We were just going to have to do it in a different way. We'd have to figure that out, and and you would have to take some chances and see if it worked out. So you go. Jared Verse, our first rounder in a while. Braden Fisk. That took 2 second-round picks. The year before we go Kobe Turner and BY in the 3rd round. So I've jokingly said, but it's reality, it took 5 top 100 picks to somewhat replace Aaron Donald. And that, but you know what, the intentionality behind it was we could see it coming. We knew Aaron had probably sent signals that, you know what, I'm not playing forever. When I feel like I'm not at the top of my game, it's over. So we began the journey of somewhat replacing or filling in or making sure we could still be a disruptive front when Aaron Donald did say.
How did that look last year? I mean, you guys did very well. Jared Verse.
Well, the interesting thing, if you go back to our week 2 game, we pressured Kyler Murray. Yeah. I mean, it was. But then Kyler Murray probably made 5 or 6 unreal plays off schedule because we were pressuring the heck out of him. Now, there's something that group's got to learn. You're playing Kyler Murray, so you can't just go at him full speed. He may spin out of there and you're dead in the water. But what I do remember is, wait a minute, we just got our butts kicked badly by Arizona, but you could tell that's a young defense. They're getting there, far from being there then. But then by the time we got to Philly, again, played another mobile QB. Maybe Mr. Hurts isn't as mobile as Kyler. But at the end of the day, snow probably helped, but we ended up playing a lot better game and maybe getting him on the ground 5 or 6 times instead of letting him spin out and make unscheduled plays.
I've always wanted to ask you this in the last couple of years. I haven't seen you in a while. Although I've told this story before. When my wife and I moved to LA for the Ringer for 5 years, we went to Manhattan Beach. We had just moved there. We've been there for 20 minutes. We took a right on Manhattan Beach, and you were walking with your wife, and I said hello to you as soon as it was like we
the good old days.
Moved there for 20 minutes, and you were there. You greeted us in LA basically. But I haven't seen you in a couple of years. Do you think the FM picks narrative got out of hand? Like for me, the narrative became you guys don't care about draft picks. That wasn't true. You guys were really good at hitting on the mid-round picks. You obviously, at the front end of the entire build, you're hitting on Hall of Famers, Hank Canton guys, and then you're trading first-round picks for guys like Matthew Stafford, also Canton-bound, it looks like. When you get, read on Twitter or whatever, the FM picks thing, did you want to correct that narrative at all? Did you care?
Yeah, I think the FM pick, the neat thing is we had won the Super Bowl. Yeah. So now, if we would have finished up short,
yes,
the Twitter could have been, oh, these guys F them picks, but the memes would have been a lot different. The boring part of the memes of the headlines would be during that span, and we were very intentional about this. We probably did have at least the third or fourth most draft picks during those 5 years. And what we were doing is, because to keep it simple, we were paying a lot of players like Aaron Donald. He was the highest paid defensive lineman. Jalen Ram, highest paid corner, quarterback, highest paid. So we were paying a lot of players. We couldn't re-sign some of our unrestricted free agents, so we knew they would move on. We would play the comp formula game, and we were picking late. So maybe we used some of the first-round picks to add to this core, but we knew we were going to have to fill in with our contributors, our depth. Guys who actually finished that Super Bowl. I mean, Bryson Hopkins, Ben Skoranovich are on the last drive that we end up winning the Super Bowl on, and they were a part of those, let's call it later round picks that had to come in and go from all of a sudden playing special teams to converting third downs for us. And that was a little bit the intentional plan.
All right, a couple rapid fire things for you. First of all, we do something called badasses. Most badass person you've ever been around in football. Player, the way I define it is, alien comes down and says, take me to the football player. You know what we're talking about. Toughest guy, meanest guy, whatever. Who's your badass, Les Snead?
Badass. Oh, man. Number one, we just met last night. We had with the NFL, and Serena Williams was there.
Yeah.
Just her going on stage, she's doing a Q&A. I'm thinking, that's a badass. When they showed her highlights, I mean, the physics of her knocking a ball, but here's what's, a long time ago, I was part of Lawyer Malloy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go badass with him.
Love that. Yeah, no,
I partnered with him. He was a player, and I was in the front office.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's going old school.
That's old school.
You got to Google Lawyer Malloy.
91, 92, I don't even know.
Mark Barron was another
Mark Barron, yeah, there we go.
Mark Barron would be a little bit more modern day.
Yeah. One of those first, unbelievable athletes.
We would spend all day trying to actually define what a badass is.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's at least 15 to 20 variables.
Before you came on, speaking of safeties, Stefanski and Kevin O'Connell, back to back, they both said Harrison Smith. Both of them. They were both with them in Minnesota at different times.
Badass.
So, there you go. That's what true badass is, when different regimes are naming you, and Stransky's even coach him anymore. We do something called one rep back. Last thing.
One rep who?
One rep back. And so for a player, for
oh, you get one rep back.
Yeah, so J.J. Watt talks a lot about on the show. He talked about he tried to kill Tony Romo one time. Romo get out of a sack, threw a game-winning touchdown, like that kind of thing. For decision makers, we do evals. Brett Veach was on the show, talked about he didn't see it with Fred Warner. Fred Warner pops, and then he's saying, where the hell was I on Fred Warner? If you could take one draft report back your entire career, doesn't matter if you're a GM or a scout or whatever, who's the guy where you're saying, I see it now?
Well, and I don't want to. I can definitely remember a pick. We had two picks. Yeah. We could. I'm thinking who was the tight end out of Miami, who was basketball player, went to the
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham. Definitely missed on him in terms of, let's call it, being not necessarily a decision maker, but helping the decision makers, and probably tilting more. He's more basketball developmental. Even though he went to he's so raw, but he still showed some things. Usually when you're a raw player and you go to the Senior Bowl and you do unraw things, it's almost like, okay, weigh that more than anything, because that's probably the trajectory that's
an interesting phrase. So Frank Haith was Jimmy Graham's coach. I called him one time about Jimmy Graham, and he said, there's two things Jimmy Graham did that every football team should scout for. Number one, he led, I believe, the ACC in blocks, which means he's got vertical jump. Number two is he led the ACC in drawn fouls, which means he has quick feet. So if you can jump high and you can set your feet really quickly, you can play football if you're 6'7". I've never forgotten that. And then Gil Brandt used to have a suite at the Final Four, and he would get all the college basketball coaches drunk, and then they would tell him, hey, we got this 6'6" guy who's not going to play pro next year.
I call that the Antonio Gates rule. Right? Go try to find the back. We have found, because our owner does own a basketball team in the Nuggets, and we've shared some reports. Interestingly, a lot of the, let's call it mid-major guys that probably could come play football, they're able to make pretty good living overseas.
Yep.
So it's a little bit harder to get them to
That's harder.
just come to the practice squad and the NFL.
Keep trying. Les Snead, thanks, buddy.
Enjoyed it.
All right.